The lore of the uncharted canyon. In the dust-choked depths of the Grand Canyon, where the Colorado River slices through eons of silent stone, lies a secret that defies American history. Forget the textbooks, forget the established timeline. For nearly a century, a tantalizing ghost story has whispered among archaeologists and adventurers. A hidden city, ancient and vast, built not by the indigenous Pueblo people, but by Egyptians. The year is 1909. The American West was supposedly fully explored, yet the Grand Canyon remained a labyrinth of untamed possibility. It was a place where light and shadow played tricks, and every fissure suggested a deeper, older truth. Enter G.E. Kincaid, a rugged, experienced explorer working for the Smithsonian Institution. Kincaid was not looking for pharaohs. He was looking for lost mines, drawn by the persistent rumors of gold and copper along the canyon's treacherous northern wall. His journey was grueling. He navigated the treacherous rapids of the Colorado in a small, flat-bottomed boat, mapping and logging geological formations. Days bled into weeks, the silence broken only by the roar of the river and the cries of unseen birds of prey. One sweltering afternoon, Kincaid landed his boat on a small, sandy beach tucked beneath an imposing cliff face. He noticed something utterly out of place, a thin, nearly invisible path artificially carved into the rock, leading up a vertical sheer. It was too precise, too uniform to be a natural game trail. Curiosity, the lifeblood of an explorer, compelled him to follow it. The path twisted upward for nearly 2,000 feet, terminating in a sheltered but accessible cave entrance. The mouth of the cave was almost perfectly round, unnaturally symmetrical, as if bored by immense ancient tools. Kincaid drew his pistol, lit his kerosene lamp, and stepped into a darkness that had swallowed the light of the sun for millennia. The air inside was stale, dry, and permeated with a faint, musty smell that was not merely dust. It was the smell of time, sealed away. He soon realized he was not in a mere cave. He was standing in a massive, meticulously engineered corridor cut straight through the solid granite. The walls were smooth and polished. This was not nature. This was civilization. As Kincaid ventured deeper, his lamplight revealed an astonishing sight. Set into the smooth rock walls were tiers of vast, hollowed-out chambers, a subterranean village. But what froze the blood in his veins was the architecture. The doorways were shaped like T-crosses. The carvings on the walls, though faded, were not the familiar spirals and geometric shapes of the local tribes. They were hieroglyphics, the chamber of mummies and the lost artifacts. Kincaid, momentarily stunned, felt his archaeological training and his disbelief warring within him. Hieroglyphs? In the heart of Arizona? Thousands of miles from the Nile? He pushed deeper into the subterranean city, his footsteps echoing in the unnatural silence. The main passage, which Kincaid estimated to be almost a quarter of a mile long, eventually opened into a colossal central chamber. This room was the heart of the enigma, a massive space where the air felt strangely electrified. He raised his lamp, illuminating a horrifying yet magnificent spectacle, a funerary gallery. Along the walls of the chamber, stacked on meticulously carved ledges, were hundreds of mummified bodies. They were all wrapped in a dark linen, unlike the materials used by any known North American culture. Kincaid, examining one closely, noted the mummies were generally smaller than average, but the care taken in their preservation was unmistakable. More astonishing than the mummies themselves were the artifacts surrounding them. In the center of the chamber stood a raised platform, perhaps an altar, upon which rested a collection of bronze and copper tools, highly polished and far more advanced than anything attributed to pre-Columbian America. Kincaid sketched furiously, his hand trembling. He documented pottery shards, intricately painted with geometric patterns and symbols that screamed Egyptian influence. He even found a small clay tablet etched with the recognizable image of a scarab beetle. However, the most crucial discovery lay beneath the altar. Kincaid moved a heavy flat stone, revealing a crypt. Inside, a single dominant figure rested in a stone sarcophagus, covered by a heavy copper lid. Kincaid managed to pry the lid open just enough to confirm his theory. The chamber held the remains of a people with clear, undeniable ties to the Old World. The skeletal structure of the principal mummy was long-headed, dolichocephalic, a characteristic often noted in descriptions of ancient Egyptian nobility. This crypt was not just an archaeological find. It was an explosive piece of evidence that could rewrite the history of North America. It suggested a transoceanic voyage, not by Vikings, but by a sophisticated Mediterranean civilization thousands of years before Columbus. He spent 3 arduous days inside the cave complex, mapping the 22 storage rooms, or magazines as he called them, and copying the most significant hieroglyphs. The sheer scale and antiquity of the site were overwhelming. When Kincaid finally emerged, blinking in the harsh desert sunlight, he knew he held the biggest secret the Grand Canyon had ever yielded. He immediately sent a frantic telegram to Professor S.A. Jordan, the alleged head of the Smithsonian's Department of Archaeology, detailing his breathtaking discovery. The headline that vanished in the veil of secrecy. Kincaid's telegram was urgent. The response was immediate, yet strangely muted. Professor S.A. Jordan acknowledged the magnitude of the claim and promised to dispatch a team to the site, which Kincaid had meticulously marked on his private maps. The true public bombshell, however, dropped on April 5, 1909. The Arizona Gazette, a widely read newspaper of the time, ran a sensational front-page article under the headline, "Explorations in Grand Canyon, Remarkable Discoveries Indicate Ancient People Migrated from Orient." The article, which detailed Kincaid's findings with astonishing accuracy, the T-shaped entrances, the copper artifacts, the mummies, and the unmistakable Egyptian hieroglyphs, ignited the imagination of the nation. It named Kincaid and Professor Jordan, confirming the involvement of the prestigious Smithsonian institution. The story suggested that the ancient race might have used an elaborate system of tunnels and chambers, creating a vast subterranean complex. The public reaction was electric. People were captivated by the idea of an American history far older and more mysterious than they had ever imagined. But then, an extraordinary thing happened. The story vanished. Within days of the publication, the Smithsonian Institution issued a blanket denial. They declared that neither Kincaid nor Professor Jordan was employed by their organization and that no such expedition had ever been authorized. The Arizona Gazette suddenly went silent on the topic, refusing to publish any follow-up articles or provide further details about Kincaid's exact location. The entire event was instantly shrouded in official secrecy. The area Kincaid described, a nearly inaccessible region of the canyon near the confluence of the Colorado and the Little Colorado rivers, a zone now recognized for its sacred importance to the Hopi people, was swiftly declared a restricted zone by the U.S. government. Access was heavily regulated, citing mineral rights and national security concerns. For decades, the story of Kincaid's cave became a fringe legend, a conspiracy theory before the term existed. Historians and archaeologists who attempted to investigate the claim were met with stone walls and official indifference. The copies of the Arizona Gazette carrying the original article became rare, prized possessions for those who believed the truth was deliberately being suppressed. Why the cover-up? Those who supported Kincaid's claim argued that the discovery was too profound. It challenged the fundamental narratives of American archaeology, European primacy in exploration, and the very concept of American isolation before 1492. Such a revelation that Egyptians, or at least a highly developed Mediterranean-linked culture, had built a city in the Grand Canyon would have shaken religious and academic institutions to their core. Kincaid himself seemed to disappear into the annals of history, his later life obscure and his discovery officially erased. The only evidence remaining was a single, startling newspaper clipping and a growing suspicion that the government was protecting a secret greater than gold: the truth about who was here first. The Hopi prophecy and the guardians of the secret. The mystery of Kincaid's cave might have been buried by Washington, but it remained fiercely alive in the ancient legends of the Grand Canyon's original inhabitants, the Hopi people. For centuries, the Hopi have spoken of a sacred place within the canyon, a massive hidden chamber known in their tradition as a Sipapuni, the place of emergence, where their ancestors first entered this world from the third world. But interwoven with this sacred narrative are darker, older tales. They speak of a foreign, fair-skinned people who arrived from across the Great Water long ago. These people, described as master builders and metalworkers, built great underground dwelling places, but their ways were too focused on war and gold. The legends refer to a great conflict and a time when the snake people, or the ant people, often linked to underground dwellers, were trapped or chose to seal themselves away in the canyon depths. Crucially, the Hopi believed the area near the confluence of the Colorado and the Little Colorado was protected by ancient spirits and was strictly forbidden. They understood the power of the sealed chamber. They were the silent guardians of a history too dangerous to be known. When the Smithsonian denied the story, the Hopi offered a quiet, knowing silence. For them, Kincaid's discovery was not an anomaly. It was the physical proof of their oldest, most guarded prophecy. The government's swift action was seen not as a cover-up, but as a confirmation that the world was not yet ready to face the truth of the ancient visitors. The secret was not meant for the modern world, and the sealed cave remained closed, fulfilling the ancient mandate. The enduring legacy and the unproven truth. Kincaid's cave, or what skeptics now call the Egyptian hoax, remains one of the greatest unsolved archaeological controversies in American history. Despite the official denial, the physical and circumstantial evidence is too compelling to fully dismiss. The coordinates. The location Kincaid described is in an area known for unusual formations and restricted access, fueling suspicion. The artifacts. While the original artifacts were never produced by the Smithsonian, thousands of alleged pre-Columbian artifacts with Mediterranean and Phoenician connections, such as the controversial Bat Creek stone or the Kensington runestone, continue to surface across North America, suggesting transoceanic contact was not impossible. The Vanishing Act. The complete and aggressive erasure of the story, followed by the permanent restriction of the alleged location, suggest a deliberate effort to manage a destabilizing narrative. The mystery of knowledge of history continues to resonate with USA audiences because it touches upon a powerful, distinctively American desire to believe in a history that is deeper, more mysterious, and less conventional than the one taught in schools. Today, the Grand Canyon is one of the world's most visited natural wonders. Visitors stand on the rim, gazing down into the miles of layered rock, unaware that somewhere beneath the vast, silent stone, a T-shaped doorway, sealed by time and conspiracy, may still guard the mummified remains of an Egyptian civilization that vanished into the heart of America over 3,000 years ago. The story of Kincaid's cave is the ultimate historical riddle, a spectacular truth, entirely documented, yet officially deemed non-existent, waiting for a future explorer brave enough to find the one newspaper clipping that started it all.